In keeping with what I have promised myself to do is to get on here and at maybe late though it might be and talk about something that I believe is so important to where we are today in our world because of the pandemic, because of the lockdowns, and because of what's happening because of COVID. Hi, I'm Kingsley Grant. I'm here with you tonight, and I wanted to share with you this idea of pivoting. What does that mean? What does it look like? How do you do that? Is it something that you can do? Or is that just something that basketball players do? Now, I'm not a basketball player. I can want to admit that up front. I don't play basketball. I watch basketball. I love basketball. But some things that you have to stay within your lane. One of those is I am vertically challenged, meaning that I'm not the height where most basketball players need to be. Let's just say that I'm not 6 feet one, or actually 6 feet one. Come on, Kingsley, 6 feet five or 6 feet 6 inches, and so on. So basketball is not my thing to play. I love to watch it. Now, put me on the soccer field. Well, a few years back, and we have something to talk about. But pivoting is something that basketball players know very well. It is something that they do all the time in pivoting on that one foot when they plant the foot and have to bounce the basketball. And so it's used in that context quite a bit. But what about your life? What about mine? What about your career? What about work? What about the things you're now doing? It's amazing how many people are working in a job that they hate. Maybe you're one of those persons, right? And don't raise your hand, but maybe you're one of those persons who really, if you had a choice and could do something different, you would be, right? Okay. Now, if you want to comment on any of these, what I'm saying, and you can actually just allow StreamYard permission to get you on so you can comment, and I would love for you to do that. If you're watching this live, just put hashtag live in the comment section. If you're watching this on a replay, put hashtag replay. I would love to see when you watch this video. But again, I mentioned I'm Kingsley Grant, and just in case you wonder, who is this guy? Well, I'm the host of the Kingsley Grant Show. Is a weekly podcast that I have, and I do solo shows. I interview guests on different topics. And if you go to kingslegrant.com/podcast, you will actually be able to find a number of my shows. I've done over 200 plus shows. You can be able to watch, to listen. It's audio on any place you get podcasts. So it's Google, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and just to name a few, you can actually get on and to listen to my podcast. But I'm also a coach, and I coach people, leadership coach. I coach people in leadership. If you own your business, you are a leader. If you work for a company as a leader, I help coaching through the how to make yourself a better leader, how to really get better results in what you do. And I also do that as well. And I've actually done a lot of keynote speaking on leadership. I wrote a book on emotional intelligence. It's called The Emotelligent Leader, Succeed Where Others Failed. So I've done a number of things. And I've really been on the online space for a long time. I've done pivoting quite a bit. So if there's anybody who knows about how to actually pivot, it's me. I have done that quite a bit, and in many ways. And so I have an idea. I wrote a book sometime back, another book called The Midlifepreneur. And in that book, I talk about how, as a person in midlife, how do you transition? How do you pivot in your midlife so that you can actually do the things that you love, you want to do, and actually succeed at it? So I wrote that book on that as well. So as you can tell, I've really have some experience in this area. I've coached people through transition and pivoting who might want to transition from where they're working to another space that they have more passion for, and try to help them to figure out how to do that smoothly. And so I also help them with that. But when you hear the word pivot, I'm not sure what comes to your mind, but for some people, the idea, and I want to just share this with you here, of the definition that I want to work with, want to talk about here is pivot is it's a pivot means to turn or rotate like a hinge, right? That's the dictionary definition that I found on the internet through dictionary.com. It says pivot is to turn or rotate like a hinge. Now, you might be in a place right now where you need to turn and rotate like on a hinge because you feel stuck. You feel stuck in your personal life, in your professional life, and you're afraid, you're wondering. And here's what I find many times people are wondering, as a psychotherapist and one who has a private practice, I know that people who are in this space like myself as a business person, business leader, a business owner, when it comes to what you're doing. Because, for example, right now in the pandemic time, it's hard to see people face to face because so much have shut down. We had to learn how to adjust. Thank God they allowed us to see clients virtually. So many of my contemporaries are now seeing clients virtually, and that's working out very, very well. Well, we also had to learn some other things along the way, and that is really how we have to adjust, and that's where emotional intelligence comes in, right? Where emotional intelligence, one of the key competencies of emotional intelligence is the ability to adjust, the ability to be adaptable and flexible. People who are adaptable and flexible are going to do well in this space. And especially in times like this, so many people complain, oh, 2020, and all you've got to say is 2020, right? But listen, yes, I know it's hard. It's hard for so many people. Trust me, I know from firsthand experience it's hard. However, it also provides opportunities. And sometimes we fail to see what is possible. What does this make possible? And that's a question you want to ask yourself. What does 2020, what does COVID, what does pandemic, what does locking down make possible? And it does make a lot of things possible. It gives you an opportunity to do reset. It gives you an opportunity to think about your life and say, what do you want to do with your life? Especially if you have been furloughed and you realize that, hey, you don't even control your destiny. Somebody else does. Someone makes a decision about you and your life every single day. And you can wake up one day and just be told, I'm sorry, we no longer have a job for you. And some people talk about that as, security. And I want to feel secure. It's risky to go in your own business, my friend. The most risky place to be is when somebody else makes a decision for your life. Am I right? Or am I right? I know I'm right. So pivoting is very important. So it may be that you are beginning to think about what could you do now? And so you might need someone like myself, a coach. You might need a mentor. You might need to be able to surround yourself with, like my last video in a mastermind, where you have people who can help to speak into your life, about what you might be good at, because you may not see that. Others may be seeing it and telling you, but you're not believing them, or you're afraid, you're scared because of the risk it might take. My friend, I believe this really is either you pivot or you'll end up in your life with regrets. You're going to look back and say, I wish I had, or you're going to say, what if I had? And you don't want to have that, do you? So then you may want to start thinking about, what can I now do? What are my skill sets? What am I excited and passionate about? What gets me going? What turns, what's happening in the world that really bothers me? And that's a way to figure out sometimes what you're passionate about, what you want to do. When something really bothers you and bugs you and you can't get away from that, that may be what you might need to be your call to do. So, my friend, I want to just get on tonight and talk about pivoting. And I want to challenge you to start thinking about your life and your future. And if you're going to have a different outcome, I keep on saying one of my favorite statements or phrase is this: if nothing changes, nothing changes. If nothing changes, nothing changes. And so learn to pivot. Now, if you are interested, if you are like myself, a clinician, and you are a psychotherapist, counselor, psychiatrist, psychologist, or know someone, I really want to help you as a the leader and someone who's in your space who understand what goes on there, and you're thinking about your own private practice, how to grow that, how to really, scale that business. I want to get in that mix and learn with you and walk with you and actually hold hand with you to see how that can look. So I want to encourage you to, if you are on Facebook, to join in a Facebook group I have there. It's called the I just renamed it recently, as I'm still trying to refine that, and you will see. It's called, I just renamed that. Actually, as you're listening to this, it's not so many hours since I've done that, and it's really called Private Practice Mastery. Practice Mastery, and if you go to to Facebook groups, you can find that there. Or if you type in psychopreneur, you'll find that there as well. And that's a group I want to challenge you to be a part of. Now, my friend, if you need any other help, reach out to me, connect with me, and make sure you follow me on the social media you're listening to this on, at Kings of Grant, And I'd love to see you there and just be a part of your journey. So let's invite me in, and as you learn how to pivot. But if there's a time to do that, my friend, if there's a time to do that, and you may have heard this before, 20 years was the best time to have started, but the second best time is right now. With that, my friend, thank you so much for taking the time to listen, to watch this video. And with that I close out the way I close out my podcast is this: peace out, God bless, and I'll see you on the flip side. Yeah.